I was so intimidated by this brilliant woman who I'd seen her play Mahalia Jackson.
Look, I knew I had to bring it because I was working with this one.
Cut it out.
The 2024 Oscars race is in full swing, and we are chatting with the actors, creators, and more right here on The Awardist. Hi, everyone. I'm Jared Hall, Entertainment Weekly Executive Editor. Danielle Brooks and Taraji P. Henson are just two members of the stellar cast of The New Color Purple, a musical reimagining of Alice Walker's acclaimed novel, which counts Oprah Winfrey, Oscar-nominated star of the 1985 adaptation, among its producers, along with that movie's director, Steven Spielberg. Here, Brooks takes on Oprah's role, Sophia, while Henson plays jazz and blues singer Shug Avery, who becomes close with Celie on her trip back home from Memphis. The two actresses sat down with EW's Lester Brathwaite for an emotional conversation about taking on these powerhouse roles and their inspirations, the love story between Shug and Celie, finding Sophia's joy, and more.
So first and foremost, I always like to ask, what was your connection to The Color Purple before this? When did you first see it? When did you first read it? How did it make you feel?
My father took me to see, well, I have to say, because we didn't have money like that. So I had won this internship. And so we won a trip to New York. And my dad took me to see my first Broadway show, which was The Color Purple at 15 years old. So I sat there like this, just in awe of this Black cast, because I was doing theater back in South Carolina, children's theater and stuff like that. But it was the first time I had got a glimpse that I could actually do this professionally. I was like, oh, this could be what I could do. I would love to do this. And so I just saw so clearly like a path for my life. And then, I went to Juilliard, studied there. 10 years later, after so many no's of other Broadway shows auditioning over and over, my first Broadway show where they said yes to me was The Color Purple. Yes, so that's kind of my journey with this. And both myself and Taraji had to go through an audition process for the movie. For me, it was a 6-month process. But for both of us, we said we're not going to let our egos get in the way of that. And we're going to, tread on because we knew that this was bigger than us. Mm-hmm. And so, I auditioned for 6 months. I even wrote Blitz a letter because I was so wanting this part. When I got that call 2 days after my birthday, from Miss Oprah Winfrey saying she wanted to pass the baton to me, I was on the floor. My heart was down to my toes. I just was so thankful. And the first thing that I did was run and tell my husband and then get on my knees and pray and thank God for what was about to happen.
For me, I would have to say, 'cause I'm a bit older, just a touch. But for me, when the movie came out, I was just starting to realize that acting was something that I loved. But what happened was I had auditioned for the School of Fine Arts in DC and did not get accepted. And when you're young, that rejection, I thought that I couldn't act. But acting was something that was just in me. And even though I went away to North Carolina A&T and I was following behind a friend who was really brilliant, and she was studying electrical engineering, I was like, I'm going to study electrical engineering. But that Color Purple just kept. So then now fast forward, I finally get rid of my fears and I enroll at Howard University, and now I'm there. So now we're using actual monologues from the play. Now I have to go read the book because in my opinion, that's the Bible. Flash forward, yes, I want to do that work. Never saw myself in The Color Purple. I do a movie called Hustle and Flow. Maybe you said, maybe you didn't. And Stephanie Elaine produced it. Stephanie Elaine is married to Stephen Bray, who's musical creator on the Broadway show and on this movie. But back in the day, he tapped me for Shug for Broadway. And I was like, hell no, I ain't blowing out my vocal cords. But just honestly, I know what it takes to do for 8 shows a week. And I just knew that my voice wouldn't withstand 8 shows a week, belting out, those songs. And so I ran from Shug and I was like, phew. But destiny, when something is yours, it's going to find you. And sure enough, Shug came back and got me. was during the pandemic. Blitz called and told me that I was his Suge, and I still thought he was crazy. I was like, "Are you sure it's me?" I was so intimidated by the singing. I was grateful because when I first got the script, they were like, "You don't have to sing Miss Celie's Blues," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't have to sing, sister. You just gotta hum it." And I was like, "I can do that." And then all of a sudden, they were like, "Flag on the play, you have to sing it." And I was like, "What?" They was like, "Yeah, Quincy Jones wants his song in the movie," and I was like, "Okay," but I was so intimidated by this brilliant woman who I'd seen her play Mahalia Jackson.
Look, I knew I had to bring it because I was working with this one.
Cut it out. Thank you. But I'm just saying, like, these instruments that this woman has, and then that anointed voice that Fantasia has, I was just so like, Tamala Man. I mean, what? So, but what I would have to say is the sisterhood that you see or you feel in that film is only because we have it really in real life, because the way they spoke into me and encouraged me and just blew the wind under my wings so I could fly. Like, just thank you.
Oh, girl, thank you.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Seriously.
Now, you mentioned Hustle and Flow. I remember at the Oscars, you sang with Sophia when they won the Oscar for that song, which, by the way, great moment in history. But, so I knew you could sing, but I don't know you could sing. Like, you're going to sing the house down in this movie. So it's funny to talk about like how you didn't really like have that much confidence in yourself. How did you get the confidence to sing in this movie like that?
Honestly, I'm telling you, it was them like telling me, "Girl, you could do it. What you talking about? You crazy. You sound amazing." Because I'm in my head, because singing is something I can do. Okay, I can do it, right? But when you heard the names, like this one, Fantasia, Tamala Man, you see the names on the soundtrack. Like, I don't sing like that. Like, that's not something that I practice every day. You know, it's not something that I'm as confident in it as my acting. Because acting, that's what I do, you know?
Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
First of all, she has an incredible voice. She really does.
You.
And I understand because I was feeling the same way. But the thing about music and storytelling and singing is it's really not about the notes and singing. It's about the storytelling and being a good storyteller through the lyrics. And that you have better than some of the best singers in the world, is knowing how to be a storyteller.
Thank you. And you know what? That's actually what my vocal coach taught me. And in times when in the studio, when I felt insecure and I would got in my head, they would be like, just be Suge, put some Suge on it. And as soon as they said that, I would do it. So I would have to say, though, like encouraging words like that and helping me use the strengths that I have to transcend into that singing. Because that's really what it is. It's storytelling.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So, Danielle,
But you see this? You see that? That's, like, how could I fail?
Oh, I know. Totally not a winner. You know, like, but Danielle, tell me, like, how did you approach change between the Broadway show and the movie?
Yeah, first of all, it's so much fun, man. It was so much fun. It's very rare that you get to do both theater and the movie and play the same character. So in the beginning, when I was doing the Broadway show, it was just a bare stage, nothing but wood, some chairs, and your imagination. I was using sheets to be a baby, folding it up and it being a baby. You know, we didn't have a juke joint. I didn't have 10, 11 white men to, attack me during the white mob scene. I didn't have that stuff. So I had to use my imagination, which is fun, but it can be limiting to what you can really do. So to get to then, a few years later, do the film and actually hold a 10-pound baby in my hand and actually have 15 white men coming at me and actually be on a plantation and seeing the trees and feeling like, thinking how many of our brothers and sisters were hung on those trees, it changes the game. Yeah. The story gets deeper. And to me, that's what I love. I love both. I love getting to use my imagination, but then I also love actually having the tools there and saying, all right, what we going to do with this? And also getting to play with new people was so much fun, new energy, and also having the director Blitz, going with his vision, which I think was at first kind of a little nerve-wracking for some of the producing team, because they were like, do we bring in people that are from the original? Because maybe they'll be stuck in that idea of what was. But luckily they did not do that.
Thank God.
And me and Fantasia were able to do this.
Yeah. Now, Shug Avery is one of the great broads in literature. Like, she's hard drinking, hard living, hard loving, and as a Black woman, like the turn of the century too. So it's like that's not necessarily something you see all the time. Can you talk about like how what you use for inspiration, like anyone in your life that you might have been inspired by, and what you learned from playing this character?
Oh my goodness. I have to start first with my grandmother, who's still alive. She's about to make 100. In April.
Oh, wow.
And when you think about a woman of this era who carries herself with such class and grace and sensuality, and it's very different from the women today. Like back then, there was so much left to the imagination. Those women, to me, like heroes, to me, that was the sexiest time in fashion because we left so much to the imagination. And because I'm a creative person and I imagine a lot, that's why I'm drawn to those women. And my mother used to send me to the South every summer. I mean, literally, it'd be the last day of school, and the bell would ring, and she'd pull up with my stuff in the trunk packed. And I'm like, dang, really? But I used to hate it as a kid, but I've played so many Southern women in my life that you always go, you don't know why God. Now I understand why I had to be down there by myself with no distractions of my other cousins. Like, I had to sit and study these women. So for me, playing Shug started with my grandmother. And then when you talk about that sister circle that these women actually end up having, especially with Celie and how Shug shows up and Celie sees Shug for the first time. Shug, even though she's this big person and personality and she does these big shows and she has so many eyeballs on her, they're looking at her for a different reason. They're lusting after her. They're looking at her because of her beauty, but no one really sees her soul. So the first person to really, really, really see her soul was Celie. And Shug was the first person to see her. So the way that these women pour into each other, I learned that from my mother and her sisters and my mother and her sister circle. So all of that stuff I brought to Shug, because when you play these roles, like, I've never lived during that time. So sometimes, but the great thing about Alice Walker and the Bible that is called The Color Purple, the words are there. Like, it's all really there. It really is all there. All you have to do is just say the words and believe in what you're saying, and there's the magic. But absolutely part of my life experience is going to bleed into my characters, just like hers. You know, that's what makes her, Sophia, different from Miss Oprah's. This is what makes my Shug different from Margaret Avery's. And you got to think about where women are and where we've come in society. Like, we've opened up the story a little more where we couldn't deal with the same sex kind of relationship. We kind of shunned it a little bit in the original. And this one, we broke that thing wide open because we've advanced as in humanity, where we are at a place finally where we're allowing people to love who the hell they want to love. Right. You know, so we were able to like really explore that. And it wasn't even about sex. You know, that was literally about love, the tenderness of love and what that looks like. And I think that, that's just beautiful. And I think Blitz did an amazing job with that.
Yeah. Actually, can you talk a bit more about that? Because that's one of my favorite parts of this film, was how clear you guys made the love story between Celie and Shug. Can you talk about what it felt like to be part of that?
Like, when people ask us, you know, why do you think there needed to be a new reimagining, or why do you think that it's possible that we can? Again, like I said, The Color Purple, the original, the book, I call it the Bible. Right? People will ask, did you watch the original movie? Yeah, years ago. I'm a great mimicker, so I can't watch a remake if I'm about to play that character because I'll mimic. I know that about my instrument. So whenever I had questions or I was unclear, I just went back to the Bible because it's all there. What I found interesting about this relationship is that there was a lot of guilt in Shug because this woman's raising her kids. See, people forget that. We don't really talk about it. It's not in the movie like that. But when you read the book, she has kids with Mr. even that relationship with Mr. is a bit sordid and twisted because it's like revenge love with her. She comes and leaves in and out of his life because he shunned her twice. He didn't marry her when his wife died, and he didn't marry her he didn't marry her the first time when she had the kids, and then when his wife died, he married Celie. He didn't come back for her. So there's a lot of guilt and revenge love there. But again, that relationship, because we are where we are in society, thankfully, we were able to explore it more. And it's necessary because I think when people think about, love, the first thing sometimes they go straight to sex, and sometimes love is not coming from your partner. Sometimes that love, that unconditional, that love that you really, really need that's gonna to grow you and nurture you, it might not be coming from that significant. It might very well come from a woman. Somebody to say, it doesn't mean you have to lay down with this woman or have sex. It's the tenderness of love, the unconditioned, when it's unconditional and it's raw and a person sees you and all your flaws and they still choose to love you. Mm-hmm. We don't see it enough. Yeah. We don't see it enough. Because anytime in a story, in a movie, yes, it's love, but then all of a sudden they end up in the bed. And it's literally, the sex is like, I need you to love me from a deeper place, because sex is fleeting. You have it, the orgasm is like, but the love is everlasting. The love is what you take when the person is passed on, you still have that love in your heart. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So in times like now, we need to really showcase love more right now anyway, because this world.
Yeah. Danielle, your character goes through such a huge emotional arc, bringing this strong, powerful, inspiring woman to like that awful attack and how it changes her, and she's in jail, and she comes out at the end, she finds her strength, she finds her joy at that dinner table. Can you talk about that scene, how important it is for Sophia to find her joy and what you felt playing that?
Oh, yeah. How I felt. I wrote in my journal, after these 70 plus days of playing Sophia, I am depleted. I'm so tired. It physically took a toll on me. It mentally tried to take a toll on me. But I would do it again in a heartbeat, because the importance of this character is so crucial to humanity, to who we are, to learning more about ourselves, to getting back up. How I got into all of the depths of Sophia truly was about calling on the ancestors for me. In my trailer, I would have about 20 pictures of women that inspired me or that I connected to with this character, like Fannie Lou Hamer, like Oprah, like Eliza Woods, which was a Black woman that was hung in the 1930s. So I spent time with them. I called on them, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. And to be honest, the scene in the jail and the scene in the dinner table, it felt like I had to perch myself in a graveyard full of my ancestors of Black women and listen to them whisper all of their pain and hurt. And I wanted people to really see us as Black women. We carry so much pain. There's so much hurt there. And it sometimes comes off as angry or trying to be controlling, but there is so much going on inside of us. And I wanted people to see the humanity of who we are. But I can't do that alone. And we tried to do that alone twice because in that dinner scene, we tried to shoot it with nobody at the table but Corey and myself and a bunch of stand-ins because someone had gotten COVID in the cast. So I had to do that scene 3 times on 3 different occasions, or three different occasions, 3 different days, because the second time someone caught COVID again. And so, I tried to do it like by myself the same way Miss Oprah actually did You Told Harpo to Beat Me to a clipboard because Whoopi couldn't be there when she shot it in 1985. But there's something about having everybody in that space. There's something that you have to have, the connectivity that really brings that scene together. And so I had to do it 3 times. I had to call on the ancestors. And the hard thing about, what we do is like, when you do deep, heavy work, your body does not know that you're acting. So when you release that thing, it's really hard to come back into it. So to have to keep doing that over and over, I had to lean on my cast.
We felt so horrible.
I had to lean on them, but it was so worth it. Because at the end of the day, it's truly about, to me, people being seen, people being felt, people being heard, whether that be through Sophia or whether that be through Danielle. And so for me, I did not want to fail that little girl that came to see me in particular and said, I see myself in Danielle Brooks, and let her down. So that's why it was so important to me to try to do my best and give it everything I had. No matter how many PT sessions and chiropractors I had to see, but that's another story for another day.
Now, the director Blitz told me like a few weeks ago when I interviewed him that he cast people that he knew would do their flowers. And and he's very excited to see like how and he was very excited to see like what this movie does for both of you, especially for the cast in general. Like, can you talk about how this film might change the way people, the industry might see you, and what and just the opportunity you have to like show all these different gifts that you have, like what it means to have that opportunity?
For me, being in this industry for over 2 decades and being the age that I am, 53, and still being able to experience moments like this. Not only just experience moments like this, but still surprise my fans with something else. You know what I mean? Like, I had one come up to me and one of them, it was like, what else? What can't you do? You know what I mean? And just to see the surprise. And I'm, these fans have been following me since baby boy, and they've been riding with me. And the fact that I have the joy in my heart to like really surprise them with something else is really beautiful and a beautiful part of this journey. And I'm grateful. I really am. Because I didn't see this for myself. And it was Blitz who saw it in me and spoke into me like my father would speak into me, who I lost in 2006. And when somebody speaks in you and they believe in you like that, you want to show up and you want to make them proud. And he did that for all of, because he believed in all of us. Like, we were no one really wanted us. You heard her say she waited 6 months before they said yes, because literally if they want you, they hire you right away. You know what I mean? We're not stupid. We know how it works. So he believed in all the little engines that could. And, it's like I've been doing this for 2 decades, and there are times where I just want to quit because I'm tired of fighting. And what pains my heart is that I don't want to hear these babies have the same fight. My prayer is that the work and the fight and the struggle is to make it easier for them. Because I was the little girl that wished and saw these women, these incredible women. I want to do that one day. And then you start doing, and how hard it is for us. And I'm like, how can I make it different? How can I make it better? So that this little girl out there is like, I want to do that. I don't want to hear her talk about the same things that me and my sisters have been fighting for so many years. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than us. If I'm not in a position to make it better, but those coming behind me, what am I doing? What am I doing? Is it just for vanity? Art saves lives. Art changes lives. I know how important this craft that we've been blessed with, I know how important this is to humanity. And the devil knows it. That's why they're taking arts, out of schools, particularly Black schools and public schools, because that has been a way out for us for so long, And so I get this position, this coveted position in this industry that never gives us a break. And sometimes I just get so enraged because it's like, I've done all of this. But what about all of this I've done that doesn't count for anything? It's almost like every time I got to start from scratch. Are you paying attention?
I hear you. It's definitely a struggle for Black people in general, but I think Black women especially in this industry. How about you, Danielle? How do you feel?
I never compete with Black women. I'm never going to talk down to a Black woman. I can't.
Can I just say, one of my favorite moments is at the Golden Globes when Viola Davis won, and the Emmys, sorry, the Emmys, and you two hug each other. And I love that. I love that meme, love that GIF, because it's just like, that's what it's about, right? That's how it's too.
And you know what bothered me? That was a headline. Why is that a headline? Oh God, it was Taraji P. Henson hugs Viola. Like, what else am I gonna do? I'm happy for her. Like, that's what I would do for any friend that went, like. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it bothered me that was a headline, and you could hear the hush in the room. Everybody was like, like, what? You don't do that for your friends?
Yeah.
Like, this is what it should look like. This is how it should be. We root for each other. When you win, we all win. Like,
and I think that's what this movie is about, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, my journey has been interesting. I, when I graduated Juilliard, I really didn't know how I was going to fit into Hollywood. I didn't know, do I straighten my hair? Do I keep it curly? I can't change the color of my skin, so I'm going to rock with the dark skin and try to be proud of that. And do I lose weight? Do I gain weight? I didn't know. And I stayed true to myself. And then Orange is the New Black came around, and I was able to be authentically myself, no makeup, didn't have to wear no Spanx to work. I got to be myself, but not only that, I got to do that alongside 4, 5, 6 other Black women that looked like me, that had similar energies. And it reminded me that there is room for all of us. But this industry is very difficult. And I did 7 years on that show and struggled with not being recognized when it came down to the Emmys. I felt like unseen, like I was doing great work, but just felt like not good enough. So I had to do some personal, deep internal work on what you talked about. Why are we doing this? And so it's so encouraging when some young woman talks to you on the street and says, I watched you on that show, and seeing you like made me think I could do this, or I saw myself in you. And it reminded me that's really what this all is about. Helping other people find their purpose, And so I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I don't ever hope to, get to stand on a stage and thank a bunch of people. I dream of that too. But at the end of the day, I know my worth. I validate myself. And my purpose is to be a light for someone else to find theirs. So long as I stay focused on that,
that's right.
God's gonna make a way regardless.
Because I still don't understand how you put 5 brilliant performances up next and go, this one is the best. I still, I get it, but it's how do you do art is so subjective.
It's hard, but even in choosing an artist for a role, and so you have to have tough skin in this industry. And you have to really trust that what is for you won't miss you. And my biggest thing that I've been marinating on is like, if God promised you something, do not rush the fulfillment of that promise. Woo! It will come to pass. And not most of the time, every time, it's always better than when you imagined it in your head, in your small brain. Is always greater, his plan. So just rock with it, roll with it, and keep preparing for that moment when it presents itself.
Yeah, do the work, because all that stuff will come. Focus on the work.
Thank you both so much. This has been so great. I love talking to you both. Can you just tell me what you hope audiences take away from this film?
We always say people are going to take away because they identify with who they identify, what story they identify, we don't, people are going to take away what they take away. But what I do hope is that people see beyond Black skin. Mm-hmm. I pray that people see themselves in this piece of work because it's beyond it transcends color, race, religion, gender. This is a story about humanity. Mm-hmm. This is about people who are flawed, who have surrendered to this life, who have surrendered to their flaws, decided to, because they have breath in their bodies, they can make a change. It's about redemption. Mm-hmm. Some say, Fantasia, our leading lady, loves to say that people will be healed. And I believe that because they will identify with a lot of aspects of this story. But they're going to take away what they need to take away in their healing, in their journey of healing. For me, I took away what I always have in my heart, the power of sisterhood. Women are change makers in the community. And if we're good, the men are going to be good. I love how Blitz handles and nurtures our Black men in this film, even in their flaws. They're human. There's so much to take away, Take away what you will, but I hope what you take away is some healing and some for forgiveness. And you ain't, like Oprah said, you don't have to forgive the person and love them and let them back in your life, but you forgive them to set yourself free.
That's right. I second everything she said. But, I think of really strong people too, people that don't let the world know that they've been victimized or that they have a lot going on. I pray for their healing, but I also want them to know when they fall, like Sophia did, that they too can get back up again. I think both of us in this industry have had to do that over and over and over and over again. And that's why I'm grateful for this story, because as much as it's touching other people's lives, it continues to heal us from the pains and things that we've have gone through in our personal lives, but also in this industry.
Yeah.
Got a little teary-eyed with that one. The Color Purple is in theaters on Christmas Day, and we have more Color Purple for you on the Awardist podcast, where you can check out my interview with Oprah and star Fantasia Barrino. That is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And that is it for this week's episode of the Awardist. If you like what you're watching here, be sure to subscribe to Entertainment Weekly on YouTube. And to keep the conversation with us going, you can follow Entertainment Weekly on all socials. We're at EW on X, formerly known as Twitter, and at Entertainment Weekly everywhere else. You can also tag me at Jared Hall. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to check out all of our Awardist coverage at EW.com.